Time to see what's on the radar for Allan Small, the Senior Investment Advisor at the Allan Small Financial Group with IA PrivateWealth. And we're coming to the end of the year, and you're looking at some undervalued investments. It sounds funny to say Meta as undervalued, but...
Yeah, interesting. So we had that dip, right, in November prior to U.S. Thanksgiving, 5-6% decline in the markets, kind of spooked some investors. But since then, we've seen the markets rebound quite strongly. So interesting name like Meta. When they reported earnings, fantastic earnings. They had a bit of a tax hit, one-time type deal. But what they said was they're going to spend even more money on AI and that, I guess investors didn't like that. And they sold the stock significantly. At one point, the stock sold off 25%. I guess a lot of people were remembering what Meta did, I guess, a few years back with the metaverse and how much money they said they were going to spend there. The market didn't like it.
Pulling away from it.
And so now recently they said, well, we're going to spend a lot of money, but we're also going to cut over here. And now the market seems to like that, and Meta has rebounded nicely. But I think there's a lot more to go. So even though the market has rebounded and made back most of the losses we saw in November, there are a lot of big cap tech names like a Meta, like a Dell, or even an Oracle that are still down in and around 20%. Oracle's down over 30% from the highs. And I think these names, even in the tech space where we think of tech as being overvalued, there are a number of big cap tech names that are undervalued. And actually, when you look at the Mag 7, so the biggest 7 tech names out there, their PEs are actually less today, like an NVIDIA, another one, than they were a year ago. So that just tells you how much they're earning. And their stock prices obviously are not matching the rise that we're seeing in their earnings. So when you look at a PE multiple or a PEG ratio, whatever you'll use as an investor to look at these stocks, it's actually cheaper today, a lot of these Mag 7 names, like Alphabet, or although Alphabet has moved up significantly, but Meta, Amazon, Microsoft, Oracle's not a Mag 7, but that's a lot cheaper. So a lot of opportunity, I think, in the tech space. A lot of these names, Dell, trading, I think Dell's like 13, 14 times only. So very cheap and a lot of promise and great earnings. So,
not concerned about that spending? All the spend, like not seeing a return yet on it?
Well, I think that is a little overblown. You hear about the spending. Are they over their skis? Oracle comes up with that with respect to that. I believe that these companies, they were obviously very profitable before AI came around. Whether you're Microsoft, whether you were Oracle, these are companies that have been around in very large businesses, and they've been doing their thing, whether it's infrastructure, software, whatever. So no, I'm not concerned. I don't think we are in a bubble as people fear right now. I think that is overblown. I think you will see at some point a dip in these names. We just did see one, but that's healthy, and I think on the way to bigger and better. So a name like NVIDIA, the biggest chip company, the biggest name in the world today, trading at a forward multiple of under 30 times now. Cheapest we've seen it in a long time. Do you look at a name like that? So to me, I think these names are making even more sense today, if you can believe it, than they did even a year ago.
All right, let's go a little different direction here. United Rental.
United Rental, love the name. Obviously, infrastructure. They rent out heavy machinery, like a Caterpillar, except they rent it out primarily North America. So I think if you want to go more North American versus Caterpillar, which is more global, you end up with a name like URI. And URI's down about 20%. Yeah, you can see it there on the chart. Down about 20% from the high. Again, another great company on sale.
Okay, we've got a few to go through here. I just want to get to a couple more, and if we can, Blackstone.
Blackstone, great name. One of the largest, if not the largest, asset manager in the world today. They own a lot of real estate, different types of real estate, whether it's buildings or you name it, they're involved in it. They're actually benefiting a lot now from the data center build out because you need space, right, to build these data centers. And where are they getting the space from? Companies like Blackstone. And as you can see there on the chart, another name down from the highs of just over $200 a share today, around $150. You're buying a fantastic asset manager on sale for quite a bit, over 20% on sale. So a great name to own, I think, in that space.
All right, I think you almost have the entire NYSE right now. Vistra, let's do Vistra.
Vistra, power generation. Obviously, what do we need when you talk data center and in AI? You need power. Yeah. And there's not enough power out there, nearly enough, as we keep hearing a name like Vistra. Again, another name that has come down, not as much as some of the others, but it has come down. And I think a name trading at, I guess, more acceptable, I guess maybe that's the word, multiples than some of their competitors like a GE Vernova which is another power generation name. Vistra is trading at least a name that, you could say it's not cheap, but it's definitely not as expensive as competitors. So I think a name that you could take a look at to generate the power that will be necessary going forward for all these data centers.
Okay, you got about 30 seconds. Ones you're not on the radar, or you're avoiding them on the radar, Canadian tech.
Yeah, so Canadian tech is difficult. You're looking at a name like Celestica. Let's take that name, for example. It ran all the way to $500 a share. I can't believe that. I remember when Celestica was trading under $100, $60 a share, and it goes all the way to 500, pulled back significantly, but I don't think the pullback is enough yet for me to get excited. I would buy that name on the dip. It is our AI play here in Canada. And you look at a name also like Shopify, another name that has, that is a big tech winner.